Welcome to Zero Credibility Sports. You're joined by your host Peter. You're joined with my friends Justin and Harry.
Yup.
Justin, say hello. Harry, say hello.
Hello.
Yep, I'm recording remotely from Singapore. Whereas my two co-hosts are recording back in Melbourne. And today we're going to talk about the NBA trades. We're going to talk about all the big moves that happened and the implications on the future of the league. So we're going to talk about the big trades that happened over the last 2 weeks. The trade deadline just ended last Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. And let's talk about the Porzingis trade. So for those who don't know, Kristaps Porzingis was traded away from the New York Knicks to the Dallas Mavericks with Tim Hardaway Jr., Trey Burke, and Courtney Lee, where then in return, the Knicks got Dennis Smith Jr., DeAndre Jordan, Wesley Matthews, and 2 future first-round picks. So, guys, what do you think? Let's start with Justin. What's your take?
I think the news around the Porzingis trade, I think the biggest one was how quickly it happened, really. The news broke that Porzingis wanted away from New York, I think, and then the trade actually happened only just a few days later. So I'm not sure if they were shopping him before. So definitely there were no, I guess, talks or rumblings that Porzingis wanted out of the Knicks until the announcement was made that he did. And so yeah, I think a lot of people were really surprised at the speed of the time that he announced that he was looking to be traded, and the trade that actually happened in the end.
Yeah. Harry?
Yeah.
What's your take? Good trade, bad trade for the Knicks?
I don't think it's as bad as people may think. I actually think that Porzingis is an injury risk, and he's a disgruntled employee. So as much of potential as we see he has, the Knicks did away with him because he doesn't want to be there. And I think when you have someone like that who seems to me to have all the talent, but he doesn't seem to have this sort of, he seems to want to quit when he doesn't like the situation. I'm not sure I like that in a franchise player. So I think the Knicks getting what they got, well, actually forget about getting what they get in terms of that, so they got rid of some contracts. What's most important is they cleared up cap space for two max free agents. That is probably more valuable than anything else. That's probably the most valuable commodity in the NBA, other than an actual franchise superstar on the team. The ability to have not one but 2 slots for max players, that's probably the most valuable, and we will see what happens in the summer. They get those 2 first-rate free agents to join them.
Yeah, just before we go into the whole first, which free agent will they get?
Oh yeah.
I think that a lot has been said about this New York organization, and the upper management up in Madison Square Garden. But I actually think it's quite a testament to them that this trade happened, and 1, the speed at which it happened, and 2, what they got for it. I think it's actually a testament to, surprisingly for the Knicks, good management. They managed to get Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. Dennis Smith Jr., and still a young player, exciting, has potential. DeAndre Jordan, established, locker room leader sort of guy, who can, provide a lot of value both on the offensive and the defensive end of the ball.
And a very good friend of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, very good friend.
Yes, very good friend of Kevin Durant. And they shipped out Porzingis, who I think most people can say that he's a guy that they thought would be the Knicks franchise player going forward. But I think they actually did pretty well of this. Like the immediate sort of reaction from the media was one of oh, the Knicks are dead,
The Knicks
but
fucked up.
yeah, but the reality is, I think the Knicks management did pretty well, and I don't think you can say that for a lot of the moves that they made in the past maybe 10
I
years.
agree with that.
But
Amari
yeah,
Stoudemire.
it's actually a testament. I think it's actually a testament to the management, and they did well here.
They did
And
the
like
best they could given the circumstances, right?
yeah, but what I'm saying is that they didn't pull a how to say they didn't pull a New Orleans, or in the sense that they didn't go and fight, fight with their star, or didn't say no, we're not going to let you leave or whatever. It seems, at least the very least it seems that their so-called future franchise players said, I don't want to be here. They're like, all right, fine, we'll go and get the best that we can get, and we'll do a deal, and we'll do it quickly, and we'll do it efficiently, and we won't fuss about. So yeah, honestly, credit to them for that one. Now, all of this could be moot if they don't actually get the players that they want to get in free agency.
That's true. I think the grade right now it has to be incomplete. If they get two, and two has to be first tier guy, or maybe at least one first tier and one second tier guys. So if they only get one, for example, or they don't get any, or if they don't get any of the first tier guys, then I think it's probably going to be
set back
it's not
for,
good, right?
It's not good. Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast about someone who has insider information. Apparently, Porzingis wanted to be.
Can you identify what podcast it is, maybe?
It's okay. I listened to it on Flagrant 2. So it's done by a bunch of comedians and a former Bleach Report writer. So Bleacher Report writer.
Highly critical there.
Yeah, no, but this guy has gotten a few calls
who's the
right.
Who's the Bleacher Report guy?
No, it wasn't the Bleacher Report guy. It was by one of the comedians who has a few friends in the New York Knicks organization. So obviously after the trade happened, that's when he was allowed to drop some of the information. He said Porzingis actually submitted a list of 8 teams that he wanted to be traded to, but apparently the New York Knicks only went to 3 of the teams to ask for a deal. But I mean, obviously the comedian was kind of make a big meal out of it, saying that shouldn't you have checked all 8 teams to see what you can get instead of what they got?
No.
So, okay, I don't know. So for me, just wondering. So usually when you look at a trade, we try to measure who got the better deal, and I think in NBA usually the team who gets the better player wins the deal, right? Usually. Right? So who do you think won the deal? Justin, you can go answer that question first.
I don't think anyone can say who won the deal until next season starts. Okay. Because who wins the deal depends on who they get in free agency. That's the play they're making. Right? They're not the play that the Knicks are making are not, we get Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. That's not the play they're making. The play they're making is for free agency. So until that part is done, the deal, so to speak, is not done, right?
Yep. All right. Well, but okay. So do you think it's okay? Then let me rephrase, change the question. Next question then. Do you think Dallas got a good deal out of it?
Yes, I think so. I mean, this Dallas team, right? I know a lot of people are talking about Porzingis and Luka Doncic teaming up.
Yeah, they forgot about Dirk, man. They forgot about how fundamental this team is.
I think that's very exciting. But I think, you're right. I think a lot of people overlook Dirk Nowitzki. And I don't mean Dirk Nowitzki. I don't necessarily mean in his ability, I guess, to continue contributing. But I think in his ability to coach and mentor these guys at the organization. I think that's, something that is beneficial to both. I think it would provide a lot of value to Dirk himself. I think it provides a lot of value to the organization going forward, being able to, get guys who, hopefully will all be on the same page and all that sort of stuff. And it'll provide values to guys like Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic. And, Kristaps Porzingis, right, he's still a young player in the league. So, I'm sure he would appreciate the coaching and the mentorship that Dirk Nowitzki could provide him. I think the Mavs did well off this one.
So it wasn't like a super one-sided deal. it was kind of
I
like
mean,
a win. Like you
it
could
will
argue it's
be
a
it
win-win.
will be if they don't get anyone free agency.
Oh yeah, true. Okay, shall we kind of do like a crystal ball moment and kind of get get all of us to like kind of predict or guess who the two players gonna be? Shall we start with Harry? Who do you think the two players are gonna be?
Um, I do think there's a probably more than 50 chance that 50 chance that Kevin Durant will be there.
Okay.
And I would say I think Kyrie is also a possibility, but I wouldn't give it more than 50% chance.
Okay. So but that's your most likelihood, the two players that most likely going to be there kind of thing.
I don't think Kawhi will be there. Who else is
I
there?
don't.
Butler. I would say Durant over 50% and maybe at 40% Kyrie.
What about you, Justin?
I think Durant is the biggest one.
Yeah.
And I think it's no secret that the Knicks are going after Durant as their number one free agent sort of
definitely.
target. And also, I think that there's mutual interest from the player as well. I think Kyrie is a guy who, now with his troubles in Boston and all that sort of stuff, that stuff coming up about how he's speaking to LeBron and all that sort of thing. I think Kyrie probably will not want to go to a team where he's the only superstar. It's sort of like if Durant goes to the Knicks, I can see there's a more likelihood that Kyrie will go to the Knicks, but he wouldn't be the first person to sign. Whereas I think Durant would be the first person to sign. Now, whether the Knicks get Durant or not, that's another matter, the Knicks with Kevin Durant, right? And they could attract one more guy. That'll be, Durant on any team transforms that team into a contender. So it'll be very interesting to see if they get it.
But do you think Durant will go there without having another marquee player going there? I don't know. I think they'll communicate with each other and they'll make a decision based on what the other guy may or may not be doing.
Who knows, man? Like this thing, like these type of trades, we really don't know who's really buddy with who. Like, look, for example, like LeBron was like pissed off that Kevin Durant went to the news and say that it's toxic to be around LeBron because of LeBron mania or whatever. And Nick Minute,
what does that have to do?
No, I'm just saying we don't know. We don't really. We would never know like whether there's a agreement between the players, right, before they go to join a place. Some like you're arguing.
There's no tampering against. There's no law against them players talking with.
Of course.
So they'll after the off season they'll get together and say, hey, what's going to happen? If you're going to go, I'll go. I don't know. They'll approach it somehow.
Yeah. I mean, of course, players talk. Of course, players talk, and especially the superstar players. They'll talk to each other. The thing about, and I think in general, I would agree that of course, Durant would go to the Knicks and he'd prefer another guy come with him. Yeah. But I do also think that there is a possibility that he could be like, look, I'll sign with the Knicks first, and obviously, we want, I want the organization to go pursue another superstar and, hopefully get him. But if they don't get him, if we don't get a superstar this season, maybe and the org says, all right, we'll wait till next season to get him. I think that there is a possibility that he could still be like, fine, like I'll still go here. I could definitely see that happen with
You think like much like what LeBron did with the Lakers?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. So although that situation has changed a bit now, but I think that there is that possibility where he could be like, all right, if we don't get one, obviously that won't be his first choice, but if so, it turns out, all right, we won't get one this season, but we'll get the guy next season. I still think he'd be willing to do that.
Yes, I think so too. I think
Go ahead.
That would be three rings for like Kevin Durant, and I think he'd probably be trying to move on with his like legacy in a sense where he wants to start playing in a team where there will be like kind of like no qualms or no real like noise about him like joining a winning team, and it will be like undoubtedly his team, right? Because he's the first like kind of like superstar that New York Knicks are gonna pick, and he will definitely be like the face of the organization. So I think that's probably the next step. It looks like the next step that he wants to kind of take.
Okay, I hear what you guys are saying. I think it's less likely that he will do this because of the opportunity cost. Like LeBron's team in Cleveland wasn't any good, and also he was in Cleveland, so he wanted to go to the Lakers. It was a sort of like a natural move for him at that time of the career. Whereas you're looking at Kevin Durant, if he's doing what LeBron's going to do, why would he leave Golden State when they're going to a new stadium or new arena, and they're most likely going to have be on the back of the third straight championship. So, and he knows that he'll be compared. If he goes to the Knicks, he'll be compared with LeBron's Lakers this year. And I'm going to tell you, I loved Kevin Durant.
Yeah, we know. We know.
If he's the only guy, they won't come close to what LeBron's doing with the Lakers. Like, his value in the regular season is nowhere close to LeBron's value. And he was going to make a comparison. Hey, LeBron's going to take the Lakers to, say, 48 wins. I'm not sure Kevin Durant can get them to 40 wins if he's the only guy on the team. If there's another guy, he takes them, well, not him, but they all take him to the playoffs, and he'll really take him far in the playoffs. So he'll know that the comparisons will be there, and I'm not sure he's willing to want to suffer from those, from those comparisons with LeBron.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you think he's going to do?
I think I agree that, if he does leave the Knicks, and let's say he's the only superstar on the Knicks, right? Like next season, he's definitely sacrificing a championship. Like he's sacrificing his chance to win a championship next season. I think that is almost for sure.
For certain, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas LeBron's not going to go guaranteed, or to go to the finals even with Cleveland if he stayed at Cleveland, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the thing is, in all honesty, is going to the finals really that, if you go to finals and lose, it's like no one really
remembers
it's the classic, like no one cares, no one remembers second place, right? But I think regardless, I still think that
they do for
he is
LeBron.
More inclined to stay with the Warriors. Don't get me wrong. I think that he's more inclined. But I think that, especially if they do win that championship this season, but I think that
makes it easier for him to go.
It's not a 0% chance that he will leave to go to Knicks, because I do think that there is something within him that wants to be like, I want to win a championship on my team, right? Like that's the thing. Like Durant's championships all have asterisks on them, right? And
I don't know. Everybody has asterisks.
Yeah, but I think that he's the sort of guy that I think there is a part of him that's motivated by this sort of thing where he's like, let me prove myself, let me go to my own team and let me win a championship with my team, so I think you're right.
That's why Kyrie
I think he will be more inclined. I think he will be more inclined to stay with the Warriors, especially if they can offer him, what they should be offering him, which is, his max value. But I don't think it's a 0% chance. I think it's there is definitely a possibility.
I think you may have not gotten everything. I'm saying that he's less inclined to go if he's the only one. In other words, if he can't get Kyrie preferably, or Jimmy Butler, or who else would be Kawhi, let's say, if he can't get one of those sort of, it doesn't necessarily have to be Kyrie. It can be a second tier star. He doesn't get any of these max guys.
But in all honesty, I think there's only like a few guys, right? Like I wouldn't even put. I think if let's say the Knicks get they get Durant and Jimmy Butler, I don't think it's a win. I question if it's a win for them, to be honest, because Jimmy Butler, like, look, he's a good player, but he's not a Team 1 player. I question whether a team which they had two stars are Durant and Jimmy Butler, will beat the Warriors, next season. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
Okay.
yeah.
it has to be like, you're right. It has to be
this
like
question's going to go too
Durant,
long.
Kyrie. It has to be like
This
Durant
segment's going to go too long.
and AD or someone like that. But
Okay, yeah.
you know.
Let's make this segment a bit easier. How many supermax, like real supermax superstars are there? Like, let's name it. So there's LeBron, there's Durant. Is Kyrie really a
Define what does that mean?
like the max?
There are tiers to this.
Like that's gonna take like basically like should everyone be paid the same amount LeBron's getting paid on a team essentially?
No, but the amount LeBron's paid is capped. Like, it's not a market value in the NBA.
So
the NBA can't go market value because there's salary cap.
So what's a supermax contract value then?
Well, the supermax is only if you're
cap.
right, but the supermax is only if you're there for a certain amount of time and you have to sign with your team. So I think what you're saying is who's deserving of max? I think there's 25, 30 players who's deserving of the max because the max it's a cap on the play. You're right. The owners have written it in that favors them that they don't have to pay that much money on a superstar talent. They're worth far more than the max.
Yeah, you can't look at in the NBA. You can't look at salary though. You can't look at salary because the salary is not representative of their, quote unquote market value.
Okay, I mean supermax, the spot allotted on a team. So you think there are 25 players within the league which deserves a supermax?
But it's not like that. It's not like in every team there's one supermax slot and someone slots in there. That's not how it works.
Okay, but it's not even the super. Like I think supermax is only available to players who signs with the original team if they're there for a certain amount of time.
Yep.
So you can't view them with a supermax contract or anything.
No, I mean a max contract.
It's not like Major League Soccer where like every team has a so-called designated player slot where they're able to offer a salary which breaks outside the salary cap. Like, it's not like that in the NBA.
No, I understand that. I mean, like, who's deserving of a max contract? That's what I'm trying to say. Which players are of that, like, that cloth?
But Harry's right. Like, there's 25, 30 players in the league that will get a max contract. But that's because the max is so much lower than the market value for the top players.
No, okay, no mind. I mean, I'm trying to say.
Okay, I think what you're trying to say is, I think what you're trying to get at, how many franchise players that there are in the league? Is that what you're trying to get at?
Yeah,
you're asking for the 5 best players in the NBA. That's what you're asking, really. I mean, that's really the question that you're asking. Who are the 5 best players in the NBA?
Well, he's asking how many there are. How many are there, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Like how many game changing players kind of thing. Like AD is one, LeBron James is one.
Kevin Durant. I'm not 100% certain AD is one. Like he's the best number 2. If LeBron's if he pairs up with LeBron, he'll be great number 2. I don't know if he's a great number 1, so I'm not sure. I'm not automatically.
Okay. Kevin Durant. Okay, just for argument's sake, let's just like Kevin Durant. These type of players. Where they'll go to a team and they're most undoubtedly be number 1 against the rest of the field kind of thing. Okay, I mean like this is getting almost nowhere. Let's move on to the Knicks team. Let's talk about the Knicks big trade. Wait, is Marc Gasol to Toronto a big trade for you guys or not at all?
Absolutely, it's a big trade.
I think that's a big trade.
Boom. All right, let's talk about that. Go, Harry.
Well,
why is it a big trade?
Talk about the entire Eastern Conference picture? Like, because we'll agree that there are 4 big teams, right? With all due respect to the Pacers, who's I think 3rd or 4th right now. It's the big 4.
Hey, don't mess with the Pacers, man. Pacers destroyed the Lakers. They destroyed the Lakers without Oladipo.
Many teams destroyed the Lakers without Oladipo, man.
Right, and I'll say that the Lakers that 42-point loss was anomaly because of the trade deadline.
Yeah, and the timing of it and all that sort of stuff.
So I'm going to take the Pacers out with the greatest respect to them because they are playing really well, especially Nate McMillan is doing a heck of a job as a head coach. So I'll say the big 4, they were all really winners on trade deadline. Toronto got Marc Gasol, which is really important. The 76ers got Tobias Harris.
Yeah.
Milwaukee
hit
got
2 birds with 1 stone. Yeah. 3 birds.
Huh?
No, you're talking about all the trades at the same time, which is good. Saves time.
Yeah. So Milwaukee got Mirotic. which they need a shooter. And Boston didn't do anything, but the fact that AD didn't get moved, that's a win for them for the offseason because they'll be in the sweeps. They'll be in the AD sweepstakes for sure. So all 4 teams really won, but 3 of them won on trade deadline in terms of for this season. So I'll be interested to hear what you guys think about where you think they stand, for this season. But yeah, so I guess that's the setup, and you guys can go.
I think the clear top 3 is Bucks, Raps, Sixers, right? Like especially after the Sixers trade, that's the clear top 3. The Celtics, I think the season's gone on long enough. We can sort of say it's it's not really working. It's not really working. But although the NBA is a bit funny, right? Because sometimes things tend to change quite dramatically after the All-Star break when people seem to focus down more as it comes into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But, I mean, discounting that, like I think it's Bucks, Raps, Sixers, and Sixers. I think
in that order.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I'm not sure in that order. I'm not 100% sure in that order, but Sixers, I think they could really make a run if they can integrate their players right. They can really make a run. Like,
they're in like win now mode. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they got rid of Marc Thoughts. They're actually in win now mode. They have a different GM. Alton Brand, who's didn't pick Marc Thoughts, so he got rid of him with no conscience or without any guilt. And so you're right, they are in mode. And I think most people do think that in terms of talent, they've got 4. They've got like a big 4. But what I think Justin, you said you qualified it with if, right? If they can mesh. And
yeah. I
would like to see how they do. I'm not as bullish on them as what their talent suggests, but it wouldn't surprise me if they win the East. It wouldn't surprise me at all because they have 4 really good players.
But I think we can agree they won't win a championship.
Yeah.
Because you think because of the Warriors, I just head and shoulders. Yeah. Okay, but in terms of the East, like so I don't know. In terms of, do you want to rank them, like or?
I mean, in all honesty, I agree with you in that. I think it's a bit early to see, like I think if you were to pick like one team that would sort of upset, it would be the Sixers, right? But like I said, it's still early to see if things mesh and things gel. Like, and I'm doubly cautious when it's a Jimmy Butler, Jimmy Butler's on the team, So it's as we can see in the Celtics, it's not. A lot of times it's you might have the personnel, but if the egos don't match, or if that team chemistry is not there, it's not going to happen. Like, did you guys see what Marcus Morris said after the game when they threw away a 28-point lead and lost?
Which game was this?
It was the most recent one. Yeah, Boston.
Against the Clippers, or is it against the Lakers?
Against the Lakers?
No, Clippers. They blew a 28-point lead to the Clippers.
Okay, I wasn't aware.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, but anyway, Marcus Morris
Kyrie didn't play. Well, he exited the game early, I think.
Well, Kyrie went out in the second half of that game, but regardless, Marcus Morris, they interviewed him after the game, and he was saying how he hates watching other teams win because he says, when you see those guys win, he says you look at the bench and those guys are celebrating, laughing and joking with each other, and all that sort of stuff. And he says, like, that doesn't happen with us, like we need to work more on being a team rather than being a bunch of individuals. So I think that shows there's deeper problems in the Celtics. There's bigger problems in the Celtics rather than their game plan isn't working or whatever, or it's like there's a underlying chemistry issue within the team.
Yeah. At the risk of simplifying,
so
all right, we'll just stop here.
No, it's alright. Just keep going.
No, we could hear that whole conversation.
All right.
Hey, Peter, you're not getting fired, are you?
No. It's my office, so I can like. Leave
and that there's a mute button.
Yeah.
Right? You know how to use a mute button, right?
That's a guy. I mean, he got. I don't. So
I'll cut
I
it out.
think
Sorry.
that's okay. Look, I think to the Celtics point, to what Marcus is it Marcus? Yeah, Marcus Morris is saying. But what I think it's the Kobe effect. He's having an issue, like he's having an imprint, not a good way, on the
Oh,
Boston
you mean Kyrie?
Celtics.
You're talking about Kyrie, right?
Well, because Curry looks after Kobe, as in he looks up to Kobe. He models his game in a way to Kobe, and he's advised him. Oh, sorry, he's being advised by Kobe. And Jason Tatum has also been advised by Kobe as well. And it's that mentality which I certainly what I see from Kyrie from the outside. It's from the outside is not rubbing off well on the team. And I think Jason Tatum's having second season blues, but I also think that he may have been led astray a little bit by Kobe in terms of just going get it and worry less about the team. This is just a theory that I have from the outside.
What about Giannis? Giannis was training with Kobe like during this off season, and he looks like a beast this year. So what do you have? Yeah, Giannis trained with Kobe.
Is that right?
Still look
Okay,
yeah, Giannis.
So some people are look, and I don't think Giannis has Kobe's personality. He's just getting the best out of Kobe. Whereas to me, it seems like Kyrie and Jason Tatum sort of looks up to him as a person, as this sort of myth-making person, which I don't.
The Mamba mentality. The Mamba mentality. That's what you're talking about.
Whatever that means. And I think they've gotten some of the bad bits along with the good bits too. Whereas to me, just on the outside, it seems like Giannis, who seems to be a really workaholic, seems to be a really good person, or a player that a team can rally around. He might have just gotten the best bits of Kobe, which there are a lot of good bits to sort of extract, right? So I mean, just from what you said, I think that could be an explanation.
Yeah, no, I think that's a possibility, and I don't deny that could be a possibility. Yeah, to be honest, like the whole Kyrie, you mentioned the Kyrie Jason Tatum thing, especially the Kyrie. I'm not sure, like maybe it could also be the case where like at the start of the season, this season when Gordon Hayward came back, they put him straight in the starting lineup, and Kyrie was definitely sort of a more, how to say, space making sort of point guard, a more like, he'll never be a pass first point guard, but he was definitely on the lookout for more assists. Whereas I think today you can see he's definitely become back to his, I guess, score
his old self.
mentality.
His old,
but I think maybe it could also be because he sort of, look, at the start of the season, look, I was pass first, and we didn't really do that well. So it becomes like the LeBron at the Lakers sort of thing, right? If I don't score, if I don't put the ball in the basket, we're not going to win. So I have to do it. So I can see that could be a factor in his thinking as well. But your Kobe thing is a good point though. Like it could possibly be that. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I think. By the way, Curry has been balling this year. He has been the sort of offense because with Tatum hasn't been doing too well. Brown hasn't been doing too well. Who's the other guy? Hayward has struggled from coming back from injury. Has sort of come back a little bit, like in terms of improved a little bit, but he had a bad start to the season. So Kyrie has been sort of carrying them in a way.
Yeah,
but you're right. Like, I just think something about him just like. I just think there's something lacking in him in terms of being a leader. There's a lot of, even when he said about, remember how he said about how LeBron, I view that as him using him to say, hey, listen, when I was young, I might have bucked a sort of leader, and he's saying, oh, I now realize that I was mistaken. That's a message to his young teammates to say, listen, maybe you might want to, learn what I learned later on to actually respect me a little bit earlier, the way that I didn't do against LeBron. That's sort of like a subliminal message, that the way I see it. And people aren't, like, Kyrie thinks he's the smartest guy in the world, and like people aren't as dumb as he thinks they are. So
whoa. He thought the Earth was flat, all right?
Yeah, which is again, I don't want to get into this, but it's no laughing matter. I mean, like if he's as smart or as woke as he says he is, he wouldn't say that kind of junk. So,
Damn,
um,
Harry, do you use the word woke?
no, I use the word woke because he called himself woke. Like I generally don't use that word, but he said
It's okay.
himself.
It's okay.
Yeah,
It's a cool word.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
don't
mean,
really.
but all that stuff came out within the context. I mean, that stuff, the earlier stuff that you said, ways like maybe I'm not, like I see the flaws in me when I was younger, all that sort of stuff. All that stuff came out within the context of, that was the time he called LeBron, right? That was the
But
phone
he
call with LeBron.
volunteered that information. I just don't think that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
necessary for him to release to the media. That was a signal to people, to his younger guys, to say, hey, you better treat me the way you better treat me sort of like as a leader figure. And I think that they would never say it because obviously Kyrie's a great player, but they'll
yeah,
feel it, they'll think
Yeah,
it.
of course.
yeah.
I
I mean,
Kyrie's
yeah,
been
yeah. To be fair,
sorry.
when the whole news about the LeBron thing came out, I know that there were a lot of outlets that came out and said that he shouldn't have said that or all that sort of thing. But in all honesty, to me, it actually made me respect Kyrie more. Like
Oh, really?
it's it's very difficult, I think, for people to come out and say,
Admit they're wrong in
I
public.
was mistaken when I was younger. Like I was in the wrong when I was younger. And especially with the whole Kyrie LeBron thing and the whole, I
Mm.
guess the storyline that the media has created between Kyrie and LeBron, which I think the reality is it's not true, but the storyline where they uh, Kyrie wanted to be the number one, LeBron wouldn't let him, da 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 da, that led to their
Mm.
breakup, da 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 da. Like, I think it's like I respect people a lot when they come out and say, look, I made this mistake when I was young, or I made this mistake previously, and I'm owning up to it. And you know what?
Yeah.
Like I was wrong. That
No, no,
like
Justin.
I respect a lot of people that can do that, and especially someone like Kyrie who, you know, and we all know he has everything to lose by saying something like that, but yet he still went and did it. Like I respect that a lot.
Okay, but
I
Justin, what? Sorry, Peter, go on. Yeah, go on.
No, I kind of agree, but he does other things like he goes on publicly and slander his like not slander, but he complains about his yeah, the young teammates, his younger teammates under his roster, and I don't think it rubs off well like in terms of the team chemistry or the team atmosphere, which is why I think like Marcus Morris, who's like a real no nonsense, all about that basketball life type of player. That's why he came out and said we should be focused on being more of a team. You have like throughout the whole of this season, you have players like Terry Rozier coming out, you know, like throwing subliminal messages out like, oh, we're just too talented right after Kyrie Irving was like basically he was going along the lines of saying that like these other team members, my other team members, such as like I think he was targeting Jalen Brown, all these players should be playing a role more like focus on defense and getting Kyrie the ball, like because Kyrie was upset at Brad Stevens for not giving him all the closeout shots. Remember he got like angry at Brad Stevens once because they made a play for Gordon Hayward when he thought he should have got like the final shot of the game. So
Yeah,
I
I mean, look, that probably happens, and he probably should be upset, I guess. But that's happened with LeBron. That's happened with other players too, like Scott
Happened
Pippen,
with
number one.
Jordan.
yeah,
Yeah.
it happened to him.
So I think that's a good point. I think Morris was making a point about he probably was perhaps referring to the team in general, but maybe also to Curry as well. But I just want to
Mm.
get back to that point, Justin, that you were making about his apology. I think,
It wasn't an apology. It was just a statement.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
don't.
oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
it wasn't
sorry.
really. It
he
was just saying that,
was
like,
wrong. It's
I
that wasn't
realized.
he was wrong, right? He was
Yeah.
sort of like a mea culpa. But see, I don't think that was his primary purpose. In fact, I think he used that as some sort of, it's almost like a prop to send a signal to the young guys to say, hey, listen, look at me. I can, be the big the big sort of guy, right, to admit that. Maybe you guys should be able to do that too. I think it was more of a, like, I viewed it as more of a message, and if I'm a teammate, I would not like that.
But yeah, no, I mean, I can see what you're saying, and coming from, and like just picking up on something what Peter said though, when Terry Rozier comes out and says, my teammates, i.e. Jaylen Brown or whatever, should concentrate on doing this thing. Maybe there are divisions in the dressing room that are forming, along the Kyrie camp and the other camp. But I do think it does say a lot though that in this loss to Clip, they threw away this 28-point lead after Kyrie left the game.
Yeah.
Right. If Kyrie is the issue, right, when he's not in the game, the team should, function better, right? But they threw this lead, 28 points. Like Tobias Harris-less Clippers, by the way, which is a much worse team, a team that will not make the playoffs, by the way. Now that Tobias Harris is gone, right? After Kyrie left the game.
No. I think, okay, so Peter, do you still have the box score of that game, or have you exited?
Oh, right. I'll draw it up again.
Okay. Yeah, look, I think you're right. Absolutely. Like there's no denying that Curry is the best player, and he's almost, I wouldn't say he's the most valuable player. He's probably like 6, 7. He should be on the ballot, right? Like he wouldn't be top 3 or 4. And yeah, Boston sort of went into a tailspin once he left. But that still doesn't mask some of perhaps the tension or some of the problems that, Tatum and look, I don't like this box score, the Google box
Jaylen
score
Brown.
they keep going to, because it doesn't tell me the shooting numbers. So, Tatum got 16 points and 8. I don't know what his shooting thing says. This is useless to me. Gordon Hayward did okay. Jaylen Brown, again, it doesn't tell me any shooting numbers. So you think you can get to the ESPN one or some other one with the shooting numbers, Peter? So my point is, so it's a one-off game, and I still think if Kyrie, as good as he is, he's the best player by far. There might still be issues, perhaps, with him.
I get what you mean, but I guess, the follow-on question from that, Harry, would be, let's say you're the GM at the Celtics, right? Like, play fantasy basketball with me for now. Like, the question then becomes, all right, in order to fix this team, in order to become a championship team, like, what do we do? Do we get rid of Kyrie because he seems to be the guy that is, causing the issues here? Or do we get rid of these young guys who perhaps they, maybe Kyrie is right. Perhaps they aren't really sort of, they think that they're better than they are. And, we'll bring in some guys who can, buy in more to this, to what he wants to do.
Look, I wouldn't think you want to get rid of Curry because Curry is a great player. You hope that.
But what if they can get rid of Kyrie for AD?
You consider it. Can you scroll down?
Sure.
Can you scroll down? Because I just wanted to see the shooting numbers. Tatum, not good, right? 4 for 12. 4
for 12.
Rozier had a good game. Okay. Brown, see.
Scary Terry.
I look at the younger guys, Brown and Tatum. They're having subpar seasons compared to last year. And I'm not in the locker room.
Tatum started the season amazingly.
Really strong.
Tatum started the season so strong.
Did he? I don't remember.
He did.
Okay, but
And then once Kyrie came back, it kind of like came back and became a better player.
Started season though.
Yeah, no, but
last season or this season?
This season, he started this season really strong. I remember this very clearly.
Yeah, Jason Tatum started off really strong, but once Kyrie got back to kind of like almost full form, that's when Jason Tatum started falling off a little. I think it's also because of probably like Jason Tatum probably, who knows, maybe might have been influenced by like Kyrie's like I'm the man type of mentality, which, because remember last year when Kyrie was playing for Boston Celtics, there was no news of like him, it was more like a team game. Now it seems less of a team game. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, look, I think I'm just on the outside. I'm just speculating, or informed speculating, just based on results. I suspect that there is something to that. And by the way, remember last season Kyrie was out, from March onwards, and Tatum and Brown sort of grew up before our eyes because they have to be the man, right? Or, they had to lead,
Yeah.
and they were brilliant through the playoffs. And
Mhm.
you can sort of attribute it some to just second and third season
Slumps.
blues.
Yeah,
Yeah,
second season
it,
slump, sophomore
but I
slump,
think it's
whatever you want to
gone.
call it.
With Jaylen Brown, it's his third season, but I think it's gone a bit longer than perhaps even that. And Jason Tatum's a much better player than what his like. Can you just click on his name and see what his season averages are? I just don't like. Let's see, his 16. Okay, he's shooting worse from the floor and from 3-point line. So he's having his average a little bit better, but he's having you can make an argument a worse season this season.
Yeah, you expect him to make a bigger jump. I agree.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I think possibly that start of the season, where he played so well, all that sort of thing, maybe he's the sort of guy also that he's finding it hard to be the second guy, like maybe,
yeah,
or maybe it was a bit, or maybe it could be suppose he was just flattering to deceive at the start of the season when he was the first option, like
yeah,
I draw the parallels now to Kyle Kuzma. When LeBron's out, Kuzma becomes the first option. He dropped 39 points the other day or something like that.
yeah. He dropped 39 points today, or 40. I think 39 points today
Yeah,
in their big
yeah.
loss to the 76ers.
And when
So-
when LeBron was out, he was the primary
main
option,
man.
especially when LeBron and Rondo was out, and he played a lot better than he's done the whole season. Even though they went 3 of 9, I think, or 3 of 6 or 3 of 9, something like that, when LeBron was out. Regardless, but maybe I don't know, maybe Tatum. I don't know. I like the kid actually. I'm a big fan actually, Jason Tatum.
I do too.
Yeah, same.
Something's not right.
I think it's more of it could be more of the former, in my opinion, because last year during the playoffs, no one expected the Celtics to make the Eastern Conference Finals, and they did. And Jason Tatum was like undoubtedly the guy for the Celtics. Obviously, with Rozier chipping in a big chunk of it as well, but Jason Tatum was undoubtedly the main option, the main scoring option, and he was like, yeah, like he played really well, and he started off the season really well. And for me, like from the way I look at it, once Kyrie Irving started getting back to his finding back his mojo a little at the start of the season, and he started probably getting the ball a bit more, that's where I saw Jason Tatum started to fall off a little in terms of his efficiency and his dominance, if you want to use that word.
I mean, but he'll definitely follow in terms of dominance, so to speak, because he's not the first option.
He's not getting the ball as much. Yeah. But maybe it could be an attitude. It could be an attitude kind of thing, right? Sometimes you play a bit better just because the team's relying on me. I'm the man. I have to do this. You never know. I mean, that's my guess. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think he could also contribute to like Harry's been saying the whole time as well. Second season woes, I think, is definitely a factor. Yeah. Like it's not. No, it is something that is that's a real thing.
We've been on this for 48 minutes. You want to quickly talk about the AD trade and maybe like finish up with like the All Stars? So
no, I want to talk about the other big trades.
Big trade.
Just before we finish, Peter, you haven't given us your pecking order for the East. How do you rank them after the trades?
I think I'll go. I find it hard. Maybe I'll go with. I think I'm gonna go with Raptors, 76ers, and then Bucks. But I might be wrong. I don't know.
And the Celtics fall?
Like I don't know, man. The team is
just give us a spitball. So these are the four.
Okay, let me. Okay, fine. You know, I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna go Raptors. 76ers, Bucks, Celtics. Yeah, that's my four. All right.
And Justin, what was yours again?
I didn't give one because I said just from now.
Yeah, but where you see it now. I mean, obviously injuries and whatnot.
Yeah. In all honesty, I could see Bucks, Raps, Sixers, Pacers Celtics actually. I could say Celtics dropping out of that, or rather
Really?
not going back into that fourth spot. Yeah, I could. Like things seem to be pretty bad now. Like at the Celtics. Like I said, All-Star, like the NBA, the NBA is a bit funny because sometimes things tend to change a lot after the All-Star break, like quite significantly. But yeah, like at the moment, things are bad.
Yeah, I like. Who do you think is undoubtedly? Who do you think is gonna? Okay, I think let's just do a crystal ball moment and see who's gonna come out the East.
No, what's I want to know what Harry's ranking is.
Okay, Harry, what's your ranking?
I think, I think Boston is just too talented to not be fourth. But even if it is, it's okay because I want the second round to be those 4 teams, and I don't want, with all due respect to the Pacers, I don't want the Pacers to end up third. I don't want 2 teams to play in the first round. So if the Pacers end up fourth, that's okay because the Celtics will be fifth. They'll play each other and they just don't have home court. But you want to see the second round with that's a heavyweight, right? Like I don't really think the West holds any sort of suspense this year. So the suspense is going to be where the East is, and from the second round onwards. Any team can win it, but I think Philly for me is fourth because of uncertainty, because of Jimmy Butler, right? He could blow up, and they have 4. And I'm not as big a fan of Simmons in the playoffs, like as certainly as what he's doing in the regular season. And we'll wait and see how they mesh, with the new pass. So they'll have a 15% shot winning, let's say. I think Celtics, there is enough of a problem. They're just talented. They're talented, but they have enough of a problem. They do have some problems, so I would have them third. I still think, by the way, we never talked about the Bucks in terms of the Mirotic. I think that might actually be the best pickup. I think the Bucks really need a shooter, and Mirotic can provide that. He can just win like 1 or 2 games, in a series.
He could space the floor better for Giannis.
Absolutely. So
yeah,
but I still am not as big on Giannis in the playoffs, even though he's improved. I'll give him that. I think
we'll see.
He was in the teens for 3-pointer, now he's in the 20s, so it's an improvement.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the playoffs now. You're talking about how will they end up at the end of the regular season.
Oh right, okay. Oh wait, hold on.
That's your question. That's your question. Yeah, that's your question.
Harry, answer your question.
Oh, you're talking about the ranking in terms of the seeding? I thought I was talking about.
No. We just want your ranking. Top 4.
The East.
Top 4 of the East. Let's go.
Oh, well, that's a different matter because then Milwaukee has such a big lead and they're a regular season team. They have a good regular season coach or great regular season coach. So they could be number 1. They'll probably end up number 1 in the whole league. All right. They've only lost 13 games. So that's a no-brainer in my mind.
Okay.
I don't know what the standings are. So I was giving you guys what I think in terms of the chance of winning the East. So I think Milwaukee will be number 1 in the regular season. I think they have a second best chance of winning the East. And I still think Toronto they'll probably finish second in the East in the regular season, but I think they have the best chance of winning because I think
same like me. Exactly like me.
Is a very good pickup. He's a great defender, or maybe he's still a very good defender. He's getting up there with age, and he's a very skilled. He can sort of take the other guy out from the rim. The other team's big, so and obviously right the net.
Yeah. So can we talk about 2 things? One about this Marc Gasol trade.
Yeah.
I think that Marc Gasol is a great pickup for the Raptors. However, I don't agree with this idea that like it's great for spacing or X or Y or whatever. Because if you look at the Raptors, who plays in that center position, right? There's 2 players that play in that center position. Right, one is Jonas Valanciunas, who they traded for Marc Gasol, and the other one is Serge Ibaka, right? So I think Serge Ibaka is as good a defender, if not better than Marc Gasol. Serge Ibaka has range. He can space the floor. He can hit the three. I think what Marc Gasol does give them, though, that Serge Ibaka doesn't, is the ability to create from the center position. So
post up play.
Yeah, not just post up.
He's a passer, great passer.
Yeah, Marc Gasol's a great passer. And if you look at the Grizzlies, right? Who are their primary ball handlers? Their primary ball handlers are Kyle Lowry and Kawhi Leonard, right? And you can just imagine, Marc Gasol, I'm not sure if he's played his first game. I know he missed his the first game because of some paperwork that's supposed to come through, but I'm not sure if he's actually played the first game, the game after that yet. But you can just imagine Kyle Lowry coming up the floor, Marc Gasol setting a high pick and roll, and they play a pick and roll game, right? Like with Lowry handling the ball, and then you've got Marc Gasol rolling to the basket. You've got Lowry who can drive and who can shoot, and you've got Kawhi Leonard out there as well. He gives them so much more options offensively that Serge Ibaka doesn't. And the Raptors, as it is, they their starting center was alternating. There wasn't a set starting center. It was either Valanciunas or Ibaka, because it would depend on the game plan and how they want to play that game. So Marc Gasol provides them so many more options than Serge Ibaka does. Not because he spaces the floor or whatever, because Ibaka does that as well, but it's because of his ability to pass the ball.
Okay, so who do you think is gonna come out the East? Let's just go with that. I think both me and Harry ended up with the Raptors. Who do you think is gonna come out the East, Justin?
What do you mean? I just answered that just before.
Did you say Raptors?
I said Bucks.
Oh, my bad. All right, cool. Sorry, totally out of it. Right, shall we talk about one more trade and then end it?
Hit on the AD thing, right? Or the trade that didn't happen.
Yeah, let's talk about AD. Fuck it.
There's one more big trade, the Mirotic one though.
Yeah, Mirotic.
Okay, what do you think? I mean, because I sort of went through a drive-by to say that he was a big pickup. But what do you guys think?
Yeah, I think he's a real good pickup for the Bucks. For me, the way I looked at the trade, it provides better spacing for Giannis, and it gives them another option and a good shooter in Mirotic, which I think was what the Bucks really needed. No? Yes? No?
Yeah. Absolutely, I agree with that completely.
What about you?
I mean, I think it's a good pickup. Mirotic definitely, especially if he comes off the bench, I think is a great bench player. Can score points for the second unit, but I guess I'm not as high on Mirotic as a lot of people are. Just because because Mirotic is a shooter, right?
Yeah.
He's a big shooter. He stands on on the 3-point line. He shoots the ball, right? The Bucks don't lack shooters. Right?
They've got shooters.
Yeah, they don't lack shooters, right? They've got
who are the shooters?
Bledsoe, Brogdon, George Hill, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton.
No. They're not shooters.
But these guys can space the floor, right, and bring Giannis, and that's partially the reason why Giannis has ascended this season, and partially why we see Brook Lopez every Bucks game, on a House of Highlights video, right?
Yeah.
Because Brook Lopez has changed his game, right? Brook Lopez can stretch the floor, right? Middleton can shoot. Brogdon can shoot. Bledsoe can shoot. George Hill can shoot. These guys can shoot, right? Players like Bledsoe and Chris Middleton do a bit more than just shoot, but they can shoot. Mirotic can shoot as well. I think that Mirotic is good from.
Mirotic can shoot in capital S, and the rest can shoot in small S. I mean, he's a knockdown. He can catch fire. He can win a game.
Brogdon's shooting at 40%. He's shooting at a 40% clip, man. Don't disrespect.
Well, let's take a look. Yeah, okay. From 3. But he's not he's a shooter, but the rest
Chris Middleton is at a 38% clip as well. Jeez.
Yeah, that's all better than Mirotic this season, who's at 36%, 37%.
Mirotic can catch fire. he can really catch fire. Like,
but so can all these, like Brogdon can catch fire as well. He's got 40 plus this season, hasn't he? He's only game at 40 plus.
I just checked all their averages. They're all pretty good. So Justin's right. They picked up. They got a team full of shooters. And
this team has shooters, and that's the reason why Giannis can play has ascended this season, because they've built this team with shooters. Like when they got George Hill in this offseason, right? George Hill is a shooter. He stands on the perimeter and he can shoot a 3-pointer, right? Brook Lopez has changed his game, right? Mm-hmm. This team has shooters, and you can tell their strategy, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna have guys who Giannis is gonna drive, right? And he's so strong, he's so big, he can put the ball in the basket. If not, he'll dump it up to one of these guys who are standing on the 3-point line, who are gonna put the ball in. Yep. So Mirotic fits this mold exactly, and that's why he's a great pickup. Don't get me wrong, great pickup.
Right.
But he's not the guy who's like, the Bucks now are complete because they have a guy that can stand a 3-point and shoot. No, that's not true. They've always had that. They've had that this entire season.
Okay, we'll revisit this playoffs, because I think in the playoffs, Mirotic will be he's more valuable in the playoffs than some of the other shooters.
We'll see. We'll find that out. Right. Okay. Anyways, I'm strapped for time. Let's talk about AD and close out the show.
Yeah.
So, guys, the trade that never happened was supposed to happen, but never happened. So yeah, what's everyone's take? Like, who fucked up here?
Justin or?
I'll let Harry go, because I just went so long.
Harry.
I think Magic really screwed up big time. I think he's not alone, but I think Magic, he's probably the one who screwed up the biggest.
Just just so everyone knows, AD made a trade request apparently 10 days before the trade deadline. So is that enough time? Is that enough time for the trade to transact?
I mean, what New York did, they did it in a couple of days with Porzingis. Yeah, of course.
No, but apparently Porzingis, I mean, the New York Knicks, the insider I found. Right. No, but the insider I found, apparently they've been trying to shop him secretly.
The media? Is that your insider?
Yeah, like I know you might be like laughing at it.
Yeah, actually I am laughing at it. But
yeah, but
he might know some guy in the office who probably just sat in on a meeting. I don't know.
No, but in all honesty, I wouldn't be surprised if the Knicks knew about it before the public knew about it.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised. It's definitely possible.
I mean, there was Porzingis had issues with the Knicks management for certainly years, right?
Exactly, and his injury didn't, wait, okay, guys, let me finish. So yes, he has issues with the Knicks management for a while. I wouldn't say for years, but I mean over last year, yes, because he didn't like the direction of the team, where they were going, because they were tanking all the time, not getting the right pieces or whatever. I don't know the exact reason, but I read that he wasn't happy with management. And when he got that injury,
right? Because I think Phil Jackson was still there, and he failed to attend an exit.
Oh yes. He failed to attend the exit. Yes, you're right.
So that was that last offseason, I believe, right?
Yeah. So his relationship with the management isn't good already, and his injury probably gave them the green light to go. You know what? Maybe let's move in another direction. Kind of thing. So.
Right. Okay, but to answer your question, I think it doesn't take 10 days. 1 or 2 days, you can just hash it out.
Especially with a hot commodity like AD. Yeah. So
but the reason why I blame Magic a lot is, look, he's successful as a basketball player. He's successful as a entrepreneur, but he's not good in many other things. He's not good on TV. He's not good as a late night host, and I don't think he's out of his depth in this. The reason why I say that is he just went in conventional. You know how you never offer them, you always start off slow with what you offer? Like, I think he started off with 2 or 4 guys and maybe a draft pick over there. And what you need to do is you need to wow the Pelicans. You need to sort of start to give them an offer they cannot refuse. Because the Pelicans aren't in a great rush. They've got 1.5 years, right, before AD officially he becomes a free agent. If they only have half a season, that's one thing. Then the time is working. The clock is ticking. But they have 1.5. So if you're Magic, you've got to offer them. You've got to get them so interested that they've really seriously got to contemplate. You can't just start out slow, And they have a reason not to engage because the team with the best assets, Boston, cannot engage because they have Kyrie, right? There's this arcane rule where you can't have more than one designated player or designated trade players.
Yeah, all NBA or whatever.
Yeah, something like that. So Boston cannot get in there, and everybody knows Boston has the best assets, right? They have the best player, and they've got
and they still have picks.
Yes. So if you're Magic, you should know this, and if you want the Pelicans to be interested to discuss it, you need to blow them out of the water with your first offer, and you probably need to increase it a little bit more to sweeten it a little bit more to execute it, because you're working against the clock as well. Because you've got LeBron for only 4 years, right? Three, but let's just say 4 years. And this right now, he's still in his prime. Who knows what's going to happen in 2 years' time, in 3 years' time? There's probably going to be inevitable decline. So you've got to make the best. You've got to give him the best chance, or give yourself the best chance. And right now, I think he blew it by. He sort of wasted one of the 4 seasons of LeBron seasons by not going all out. You can actually lose the trade, but you can win the war. In other words, I think I might have mentioned, if you give everyone away, right? I'm sure you'll keep some like Rondo or McGee or something. You give every one of your youngsters away. You have LeBron James and you have Anthony Davis. You could contend this season. You don't know what's going to happen with the Warriors. There could be an injury. There could be something else. But you have those 2 guys and maybe a bunch of other sort of even bench players, fill-ins. Who knows what can happen? There could be magic could happen. But right now you don't, and you're not going to contend. And so 1 year you've wasted. And now Boston, who is going to be favored, or who the New Orleans will certainly deal with, will certainly listen to, they're in it now, once the season finishes. So I think he was the biggest screw up. And I think there might be 1 or 2 others, but he's the one I want to focus on. So what do you guys go?
Okay, Justin, you go. What's your take on the deal?
I mean, I understand where Harry's coming from, but in all honesty, I think that whether Magic Johnson blew it or not, I think is another matter. I just honestly think that the Lakers don't have the assets to move that is of value to the Pelicans for AD. Like,
they did try to trade the whole team, and they didn't want it. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like, straight up, I just think that's it, right? I don't think it's, maybe there were some issues with the negotiations, or in terms of, they should have started small or whatever. Like, regardless, at the end of the day, they try to trade the whole team, and the Pelicans still say no. I think, in honesty, if I was a Pelican as well, like, I don't really see a combination of players in that team that would compel me to trade AD now.
Away. Yeah, true.
Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Look, that could well be true. And I think Magic would know going in that, hey, we can't compete with the Boston Celtics. So instead of just beating around the bush or start slow and ease into it the way that you would normally do, right? Like, I understand why, when you go to car deals, you never begin with the strongest offer, with your final offer, right? So, but I think in this case, he needed to because he's working against his own clock as well. So that's why I would fold him in. Maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, but
maybe
but I think regardless, even his strongest offer is not strong enough.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree with Justin.
You may look. I understand what you're saying in terms of in the light I'm taking, but if he hit them with an offer in the beginning, maybe they panic. Maybe they'll say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I could. You give him all the draft picks in the world. You give him just take your pick. We'll just reserve LeBron. Take your pick. Anyone in any combination. We'll take back whatever contracts you want us to take. You never give them a chance to even sort of sit back and see that.
Well,
whereas previously you gave them 2 or 3 days to say, what is this? Are you kidding me? Are you insulting me with this? The first offer was just ridiculous. Look, it doesn't work anyway. But I think he just went about it the wrong way. He never gave himself a chance.
In the negotiations, though, regardless, like you said it yourself, the Pelicans are under no time constraint, right? Like I think whatever offer came to them, right, they're gonna go away and take their time to think about it. Like they have no time constraint. They're not constrained by anything really. Like so, I think regardless what offer comes to them, whatever offer comes to them, they're gonna take their time to think about it.
They may be, but if you get so wowed by an offer in the beginning, maybe you just want to get her over with. Again, it could be an outside shot.
This is getting into like real like wasteful speculation. Like I just think that. So why don't I truly think that New Orleans Pelicans, like they know the field, they know who can offer them the best deal. They're probably just waiting for the Boston's offer. Like that's what I think. Like,
or they're waiting for anyone else's offer, right? Like let's say this off season, right? The Heat pick up Zion, right? And then for whatever reason they go, no, we don't want Zion. We'll trade Zion for AD. Like.
Do you think they'll take that? No. Like
I mean but whatever. Like, but okay. What I'm saying is that at the end of the season, right? They have everyone's playing. Everyone's playing. Like they have their pick of whatever. So I think regardless, like coming back to what Harry said, like they have time. So I don't think any offer from the Lakers, whatever it would be at any time, like now, would have changed anything. Like,
and yeah, I kind of agree. But I understand what Harry's trying to say. Like Harry's saying like, Magic Johnson should just threw the sink at them straight away. Just go like, okay, take whatever you want. And like because of like the deal, like maybe like if you don't really give them time to think and you wow them like that, they might have taken it. But who knows, man?
I don't think so.
I don't think so too. I don't think so too.
Okay. But there is a bit of a risk. What I'm saying is there is also a bit of risk in waiting. You just don't know what's going to happen.
No, you're right. You're right. Like
because AD, it seems like he has his heart going to the Lakers.
Yeah.
And what if the teams all of a sudden realize, hey, we don't want a rental? Like as you get closer to the day, you might find out more that, hey, I'm only here for a rental. So you sometimes. The offer from the Lakers may actually be the best, right. And so obviously you take certainty over uncertainty. So I'm saying it's an outside shot, but he blew it with the only chance that he got. He blew it.
Yeah. See, but that Lakers offer is still on the table at the end of the season though. Like the offer remains the same. Like it's still there.
Yeah, you can take the whole team.
Possibly.
The thing is, I think a lot of people would. For a player like AD, a lot of people would take the risks of, whatever, we'll take it for 1 year. We'll try to convince him to come here. If he doesn't, he goes to the Lakers. That's what happened with Kawhi.
No. Yeah. Boston's not going to offer up Jason Tatum without a guarantee.
I mean, with whoever. I mean, it doesn't have to be Boston. It could be anyone. Like from New Orleans, it could be anyone.
Not without a guarantee.
All right. Anyways, fine. Let's just say Anthony Davis. He didn't leave this. He didn't leave this trade deadline. Where will he be? Let's just go. Who would he be and close out the show? Where would he be next year? You reckon?
Next season?
Yeah. It's so quiet.
Well, I'm sure Justin's also contemplating, or is he waiting? Why don't you go first? I'm contemplating.
I have no idea. Like
I think he's gonna go Boston.
It needs to be someone like because at the end of the day, like in a negotiation, right? Like you gotta know who holds the cards, right?
Yeah. That's why
the Pelicans hold the cards actually. The Pelicans are the one that hold the cards because they already know that AD doesn't want to play for them. Yeah, they already know that AD doesn't want to play for them, right? But now the NBA has forced him to. But regardless, right? They know that AD doesn't want to play for him, right? So they're gonna try to get as much as they can out of the asset, right? On the trade block, they're trying to go and get as much as they can. It's up to the other teams to come and say, we'll give you X, right? And New Orleans have, they have the power to say yes or no. If they say no, fine. Then AD leaves in free agency, whatever. They haven't lost anything.
Wouldn't want to get it down. They want something back. It becomes a game of chess. Becomes a game of almost chicken, where you know that the other team will not want to offer you as much as other teams, and they know that, hey, AD is not going to go with them, so why would they offer you more? Like, so there's a risk for everyone, and
but you know that like AD's like, you know, everybody wants him. So the people with the power in the negotiation are the Pelicans. So they can wait. They can wait until the end of the season and wait for everyone to figure out what they want to do. And then they, you know, like I said, you know, I think in all honesty, I think the Lakers offer is not great. Like, you give me Lonzo Ball and Ingram and a first round pick and all,
Rondo
like,
and Kuzma.
Yeah, like those are like amongst all those players. Maybe Kuzma has potential. Like, you know what I mean?
Justin, you think about it like this: you're giving them the team that went 4 and 3 and 11 without LeBron. You're basically giving them that.
Yeah, like, it's not a strong offer. So, you know.
But else, I mean, Boston isn't guaranteed to offer Tatum by virtue of the fact that AD is not willing to sign with them. So
yeah.
But I will say this: I think, having thought about it a little bit, AD is someone who doesn't want to hurt other people's feelings. He doesn't want to make enemies. So I actually think that if Boston, maybe Danny Ainge will take a risk and say, hey, listen, we think if we trade with him, he'll stay. Because if he leaves, he's going to make enemies from 2 cities, and I don't think he wants that. So just from a gut sort of feeling, I think he'll go to the Celtics. But that's
I don't know. His dad's already come out and said my son's not going to the Celtics. So
yeah. So
okay,
so
all right, guys, we have to close out the show. So are you going to give this a bold prediction where he's going to go? I think he's going to Celtics.
I can't say. I don't know.
Look, I don't really have much clue, but if I were to have a guess, just based on the fact that, one, Boston have the best assets, 2, Danny Ainge is probably the best GM, and 3, AD is someone who doesn't want to make enemies. So if the Celtics trade him, they have a high degree of confidence that he's willing to re-sign the way they say Paul George.
I agree.
So just based on this, anything could change, obviously. The fact, if Boston goes out early in the playoffs, let's say if they're 5th seed and they go to Indiana, maybe Curry doesn't want to stay, or anything could happen. Just based on what I know now, I would say Boston.
All right.
But don't hold me to it.
All right, obviously, it's just a guess. All right, thanks for listening, guys. All right, bye, guys.